All right, I think we are live. Yep, looks like we're good to go. What is up, my fellow humans of Earth? My name is Matt Latham. I am a board-certified master arborist and registered consulting arborist. Wait, ready? Board-certified master arborist and registered consulting arborist. And there's about 100 of us globally from what I hear. And we were on this little group, Ask an Arborist. And we got Lucas on the line here. Everybody say hi, Lucas.
And we run this little group.
I think it's echoing on your screen. And
to check the volume, make sure you were broadcasting properly.
I love it. Y'all, if you need a good marketing guy, Lucas is the man. He has helped me grow this group from 0 members to 650 members in about, 3-4 months. And then after that, it just blew up. And it's all thanks to you guys and a little bit of help from Lucas keeping me. What's that?
I said we're at 3.9.
We're at over 3,900 members right now. Check it out, y'all. Check it out. I'm going to show you the screen. 3,900 members. That's crazy to me, especially going into slow season. This is actually not my slow season because I'm writing a book. And for those of you that don't know, it's the complete guide to owning a tree. We've talked about this in prior episodes, but essentially it is everything you need to know as a homeowner or a tree owner to make sure that you're a good steward of those trees that you care for. Because let's face it, trees are a big part of our lives. They're not something we typically think about or see or even notice, but they bring so many benefits to our lives. I was on the phone with a guy named John Snow out of Florida, and he's another board certified master arborist. By the way, there's only about 1,400 master arborists in the world, and he and I we're close friends, I think, at this point. He's a great guy, and he runs the Florida Urban Forestry Council earlier, and just a great guy. We were talking about all the little nuances of our industry, and unfortunately we're in an industry that's like where modern healthcare was in the 50s and 60s. That's not my words. That's the words of Jeff Ling, the former ASCA president. ASCA is the American Society of Consulting Arborists. Great guy. And that really stuck with me because it really makes sense to me is tree care. Just the short 23 years that I've been doing this, tree care has exploded. 22 years, I believe. And it's gone from, ragtag, get or did kind of attitude to like, we actually have a lot of sciences that we go by and abide by. And we basically make our judgment calls on. And a lot of those sciences are great. They've helped me stay alive and come home to my family every single night. And John and I were talking is, in the industry, we joke is like, ask 10 arborists and you'll get 10 different answers. And that's unfortunate because the reality is there are right answers and there are wrong answers. And what we need to do as an industry is to codify those right answers and just create a set of standards. Now, we do have what's called the ANSI A300 standards. Let me grab that real quick for you. If I can find it. Oh, I got so many cases to go through here. 2023 in November, they actually put them all into, for the first time ever, all into one beautiful spiral bound, pretty cheap if you ask me, non-laminated, but at least they're all together in one single booklet. And we were talking, he started out the conversation basically asking me, what does it mean for a tree to be considered excellent in condition? And this is specifically in relation to like the actual appraisal method. So we were talking appraisals and all that. And it turns out on page 44 of the Council of Tree and Landscape Appraisers Guide, on page 44, they have actually defined what it means to be an excellent tree. And I'm going to go ahead and read this to you because this is wild, y'all. This is absolutely wild. So an excellent tree is considered high vigor and nearly perfect health with little or no twig dieback, discoloration, or defoliation. The structure should be nearly ideal and free of defects. I agree. The form should be nearly ideal for the species, generally symmetric, consistent with the intended use. And then we get to what's called the percentage rating. And this is one thing that I deal with on a regular basis on appraisals. And you can see here up in the top left corner, 81 to 100% is what we're looking at there. Maybe you can see that. I hope you can see that. 81 to 100% is considered an excellent tree. Now, if you and I were to go to school and we were to talk about what an excellent grade would be, and I said, hey, I got an excellent grade, it was an 81. What would you consider that? Would you consider that excellent? Or would you consider that, well, I passed? It's pretty good. It's not horrible. But is there room for improvement? Absolutely. And I think so too. And unfortunately, this is the 10th edition of the Tree and Landscape Appraisal Guide. There was one, I think it was 2000 or 2001, was written, the 9th edition by the same authors. And they actually didn't define the tree condition or the plant's condition at all. And so that's crazy. So what we have to conclude by that is that this is the only defining factor when it comes to a plant's or a tree's condition. I have a big problem with that because 81% is not an excellent tree to me. 81% means we have to start mitigating stress and risk to make sure that tree doesn't fail either structurally or health-wise. And that's a problem. And so he was actually, this guy, John Snow, like I said, he's out of Florida. Florida and Texas are very similar in how we view trees, both professionally and municipally and legally. And so we were talking about that. He's working on codifying that to define what is an excellent tree. I think that should be a unicorn. A good tree is rare. A fair tree is normal. A poor tree is pretty normal. And a horrible tree, a very poor tree, is unfortunately very common. And a dead tree is, well, you guessed it, it's unalived. It's pretty normal too, unfortunately, but we need to, as an industry, we need to come together and figure these things out to really define what does that mean, not just from an appraisal standpoint, but from a litigation standpoint as well. So just all that to say, y'all, we're working on it. So we got a long ways to go. We've got industries all around us, like the medical industry, the insurance industry, the real estate industry. They've all codified these things into law and into real known facts. And unfortunately, tree care is just one of those industries out of very, very few. We haven't done that yet. And so we're working on it, you guys. Don't you worry. We're going to be able to tell you exactly what a poor tree is and exactly what an excellent tree is and a good tree and all that in the very near future. But in the meantime, unfortunately, it's very wishy-washy, and we do not have any use case law to really legitimately define what that means. So that being said, let's get right into it, you guys, because we started this group not so you can learn about tree law and all that good jazz. That's boring stuff. We started this group so you can get your tree care answers, your tree care questions answered, because you love the trees that you live in, live around and live under. And quite frankly, the trees are very important. And I was actually on a podcast right now for the Texas Real Estate Pros Network. Investor Fuel is the network that we're on. And we talked for about 20 minutes or so about how valuable trees really are to our lives and what the real appraisal value of a tree is. And it turns out like trees are actually far more valuable and important in our lives than you and I give them credit for. And I think God did a wonderful job at creation. He made humans. He made all the land and the animals. He made the forest and the desert. He made the trees and the birds and the flowers and the plants and the bees. And he made all of that. And it turns out like he did a really, really good job. And trees are very important to human beings. We don't realize that on a normal basis, but there's so much research out there to show the trees are just straight up good for humans. So we're starting off today, November 4th, Looks like the first one that's going to show up is from November 2nd, and then the second one is from 10 minutes ago. So let's get right into y'all's questions. You got some awesome trees. Let's figure them out, see what we need to do. So Anonymous is asking, don't know where you're from, Anonymous, but looks like a beech tree. And we've got some night photos. What's up, Lucas?
Nothing. Just lately, everything has not been synced up. I'm looking at your profile, and I have Don Breda as the first person, and I don't even see your anonymous page post.
Isn't that wild? In that wild.
I'm scrolling down. I'm like 5 down, and I don't see that anonymous, and I refreshed it twice.
Yeah. Gotta love face webs, how they tell us what we're supposed to see. You can see it, Lucas. It says new posts, right?
Yeah, mine says new posts and all topics. That's the 2 categories that shows it listed under. And yours says new post, all topics.
Yep. That's what I'm seeing.
Right after the feature, it's Don Brenda for me.
Yeah.
2 days ago, and then Kira Yeager 12 minutes ago.
I got Kira Yeager. I don't have Don. Don will get to you, I promise. We're going to find Don's, whether we like it or not.
I honestly don't see the one for Anonymous.
Yeah, so Anonymous is asking.
Anonymous, is this tree planted at the proper depth and it has a root? Maybe that one.
I know which one you're talking about. This one, Anonymous. Yep.
No, it's different. Anonymous.
You'll see it.
That Anonymous right there, yeah. But that little one with the little tree and everything, I don't have it.
That's so wild.
Really frustrating.
Right? Thank you, Meta.
Difficult.
Mark Zuckerberg, you need to stop being a reptilian and just like do normal human things. I know you got a team, Mark. I'm sorry. I'm not razzing on you, bro. Actually, I'm razzing on you hardcore, bro. But yeah, that's I'm you and me both, brother. It's very frustrating, but we'll get through this together, y'all. So Anonymous is asking about his American beech tree. Does anything seem like it needs to be pruned? Let it grow, Anonymous. Let it grow. That is the main thing, is let it grow. Lucas, how do I get to that? Is that under YouTube?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm still trying to find it, man.
All right. Okay, what is that? Number 35? No, that's not right. This is it. Share. I think I can do this, Lucas. I'm a strong, independent hombre, y'all. I'm going to tag it.
No, go back to where you were. Is it planted, this American beech tree? Does anything seem like it's been pruned?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
Found it.
Awesome. You got it. Okay, yeah, I'm going to delete this. I'll let you handle it. So sorry, Anonymous. This is you gotta love technology, but okay. So a couple things, Anonymous. So planted this American beech tree. I want to know when you planted it. I want to know why you put so much mulch on it, and I want you to not worry about pruning it right now. I would let it grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Let it do its thing. It's gonna grow. You've already got kind of a bifurcated type of structure. You may want to amend that a little bit. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'll go ahead and put you on the big screen here. So you've got an American beech tree. Sorry, marker. I dropped a marker. And you've got all of these limbs that are growing out here like this. And it kind of looks like you've got what we call a codominant lead here on the top. So that's actually problematic, but not right now. So what I mean by that, oh, hold on. Let me see if I can blind you a little less. Oops. And this one. Hey, is that better? Hopefully that's better. Yeah, that's beautiful. Also, I dropped all my books. That's not good. Oh, well. So you've got a tree that looks something like that. It's actually opposite, but that's okay. You do have 2 limbs on the right side that grow pretty seriously here, Anonymous. What you want to do is actually just reduce this one back, find a good lateral bud that's growing here, and cut it back to that. That's going to be the most important thing. Other than that, I would not touch it. Get rid of that. That's going to allow this other side to become the dominant lead, and hopefully that'll start reestablishing a central canopy, and the rest of the tree will follow suit. It may want to try and do that same exact thing later on down the road, but for now, I would leave it alone. Now, here's the other thing, though, Anonymous, is you've got a tree where the root flares have actually been buried. That is very, very bad. What you want is those root flares to be uncovered. Very important here. And so what I would do is I would actually excavate the soil and create almost like a little well here. And what that's going to do is allow the tree to breathe oxygen. You want oxygen. Very important for preventing pathogens and very important for promoting beneficial microbes. And so it's very common for a person to plant a tree too deep. And I think that's what is going on here. ASCA 300 standards say you want to plant the tree at soil level or above soil level. Another ASCA 300 standard is you want to make sure those root flares are exposed. That is so critical. And if I could do like one thing on this planet, if I could like convince everybody on this planet to do one thing that would make the biggest impact on whether or not the trees do well or not, it's that right there. Expose those root flares, keep them oxygenated, keep them from being strangulated by all that mulch. And I need to get that clip out and just play it. I just got a video up the other day, or last night rather, and it was so fun. I added in the clip, and I'm going to make this as like a sound bite. Friends don't let friends perform mulch volcanoes. So critical. So if y'all haven't seen it, go check us out on YouTube. That's where we post most of our cool videos. We do all these. I do all these shorts like multiple times a week and all that. And that's where most of the content goes. We are growing this channel like crazy, so you'll see a lot of the videos there on Ask an Arborist group. But check it out. This is our YouTube channel. Just look up Ask an Arborist or Arborist on Demand. And that's my company, Arborist on Demand. But let's check it out. I want to show you guys this real quick. This is a tree we looked at. We talked about the root flare. Uh-oh. What is this garbage? Shut up, spammer. What is this garbage? Wow. Sounds like Google's got their nasty little fingers all over everything too. We just posted this earlier this afternoon, by the way. What's up, Sprout? Glad to have you here, buddy. Hey, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods Thursday. I'll get in around 10:45 at night. Right there. That's what I wanted to show you. Friends don't let friends mulch volcano. And it's so sad. Oh, that's like, you're telling me, dude. Hey, but like with all the government shutdowns and everything, it's I leave at 8 and it's gonna get I gotta be there at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So yeah, it's late, but oh my goodness, I gotta get there early. Normally for a flight, you get there like an hour and a half, 2 hours early just to make sure you make it through TSA. Well, guess what? TSA isn't funded right now. So it's supposedly taking like 3 hours to get through TSA. That's cool.
There's a law saying that TSA and flight picketers cannot like strike on their days of work, and half of the TSA did not show up for their jobs. So there's like probably going to be half of their jobs being terminated right now.
Wow. Yeah, so that's not pretty. By the way, never mind, I'm not going to get into politics. I had to think about that for a second.
It's really, this is just being the government going through their course of trying to push their weight around of what gets passed and what doesn't. And it's not like they have any things that back up for the people that work for them.
Right.
I mean, the only people that are getting paid right now are the military because of the WIC program. It's
WIC?
still not much.
WIC?
WIC, yeah.
Women, infant, and children.
President Trump did this last couple months ago.
That's cool.
Or this last month.
Yeah, it's a mess out there, y'all. Politics sucks, unfortunately. Like sometimes when one party is just hell bent on blocking the other party from being able to do anything, it gets really nasty. And what are we going to do about that? It's like I'm going to continue and carry on with my life, but also I may be late for my appointment, my job out there in Milwaukee. But we're going to get in. We're getting into town, and we're going to have a good time with it. So it is what it is. And, we'll just carry on the best we can. So we're moving on. I'm sorry. I don't want to get, this is not a political channel. That's not what this is about. But Anonymous, I think you've got a couple problems. I would not prune it right now. I would leave it alone and let it grow, but I would definitely expose the root flares, and I would definitely get rid of some of that mulch. Make sure. Oh, and here's a video we did too. That'll help out surely. But no, I want this content. This is what I need. Oh, wow. I didn't realize we had 1,122 views on that one. That's pretty cool. Why is it doing that?
We do recommend that video a lot.
Yeah, don't I? Yeah, I would do this to your tree, Anonymous, and see if that helps. But moving on. This is a maple tree. Can anyone tell me what's going on at the base of the tree? Yeah, something damaged it. Kira, I know that's like, you're like, hey, I was really hoping for a little more detailed. Yeah, you got some damage on that tree. That's the main thing. Is let's take a look at it a little closer just to be certain. But oh yeah, something damaged that. I will say this, Kara, the tree is buried too deep. It has, the root flares are buried, and you need to expose those. That is very, very, very important. Sprout is saying a deer got to that maple. Probably it looks like a young silver maple. I think it's silver maple too, based on what I've seen. Silver maple does terrible down here in the south. It actually does okay in the north, but it's still not the best tree ever. Norway maple is maybe slightly worse than your silver maples, but only slightly. But yeah, it looks like a deer maybe got to it. I do see some kind of tracks down here, which could indicate maybe some borer damage in the past. But I think right now it does appear that the tree is sealing over. What you could do is take some of these loose, flaky barks and just peel them off. They're not going to do anything. If you can push it off with your hand, that's fine. Don't use any sharp tools. Leave it alone best you can. But get rid of some of those, and you should be able to see a clear, defined line around. Basically, we call it callus tissue or callus wound wood. And basically, that's like the tree's scar tissue, if you will. And so I don't see this as a problem. The tree appears to be thriving or surviving at least. But what I would do is maybe, I don't know, it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. So I might just let sleeping dogs lie and let it grow. You can put some humates on there, and I'll give you the link here. Let me see if I got my Bluetooth working now. Hello, awesome keyboard. All right, can we type? Yes, we can type. Maybe. Yeah, I would try applying this stuff, and that'll just give it some extra resources. That's not the end all be all, of course, but it is a pretty good start. And then just try to keep the deer away from it. You can mix some mix like a gallon of water, push it inward. Don't pull it, otherwise you might expose the cambium. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a really good point, Sprout's making. It's like push that. If you peel that off, like grab it and rip, then there's a chance you could damage more of the cambium. The cambium, by the way, is like the tree's vascular tissue, if you will. That's the living portion of the tree. So don't peel it outwards, push it in and break it off. And you can use like a chisel and hammer. That's okay too. But yeah, the main thing is the tree is sealing, and you can give it some extra resources here. You don't have to, of course. Why is it doing this? Why, oh, why, Bob? Liquid Humates Plus are great. And then I love Ocean Harvest because it's just a really good resource. I'm going to go ahead and recommend that to you as well. That's it. Yeah, but mostly you got a tree in the forest, leave it alone, let it grow, let it thrive. If it's at risk of damaging your house, if it were to fall down, maybe start to do some things to mitigate damage. All right, we're moving on. Anonymous is asking, is this tree planted too deep, planted at the proper depth? No, it's not. I think it needs to go a little bit deeper. That's it. No, I think you got to go a little bit deeper down. That looks like, I don't even know what kind of tree is that. The same person. Oh, I see. Yeah. We talked about this to Mr. Anonymous. I'll keep it anonymous. Yeah, I think you put it too deep, which I said before in the other video. And yeah, I think you got to go a little bit deeper there, pal. All right, let's answer Sprout's question. I have a question about an ash tree. Found an ash tree a few weeks ago in my nature area that had EAB and 3 trunks. One was half unalived, another was starting to unalive, and the last was okay. Can it be saved? I would get rid of the one was half unalived. Yeah, I would get rid of that one. We're gonna have to take a look at that individually on the second one, Sprout, and see if it's worth it. And the last one, if it's okay, it's okay. If it has enough cambium tissue and it has enough life in the tree, the rule is about 70%. So with EAB, you've got about 70%. If 70% of the canopy is or greater is doing okay, then you're probably okay to start treating it and figuring it out. But the one that's half gone, get it out of there. It's no good. It's harboring eggs, which will turn into adults, as you know, and those will go on to the other two and eventually get it because they're non-discriminate. EAB does not care if the tree is healthy and thriving or it's struggling and sick. And so I have a picture of it on my channel post. Yeah. Shoot me a link. I'll take a look at it. In fact, maybe we could take a look at it here in just a minute. Shoot me that link, Sprout. But yeah, let's move on to our next question.
You need to switch over.
What's up?
I was going to say, you did it. I just needed to make sure I see the image.
Yeah.
Everything's not.
Whoa. Mahogany. That's cool. All right. So Michael Galgana is from Massachusetts saying, hi, I have a mature mahogany tree that suffered limb breakage and needs some expert advice. I added the expert part. I just had the tree topped. No, because the limbs were getting too large. One of the reasons why one broke off, actually, you can reduce it and not have to top it. You can do the exact same thing, Michael. So first and foremost, don't do that. But it wasn't you that sold you on that. So I blame my industry more than I blame you. Don't worry, bud. While I was having the tree trimmed, I noticed I had some termites. I treated the termites with Tremadol and tried to clean up the old wound the best I can. Any advice on how I should treat this so eventually the the back will grow back over it. It's never going to be the same, Michael. Sorry, but a tree of that maturity and that size, it just can't grow back, period. What you can do is restore the canopy. Looks like, yeah, that could be termites, actually. It could be like carpenter ants, or it could be termites. You definitely have some spalting. That is fungal pathogens. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the decay or the beetle? It's usually both. Yeah, the decay happened first. The beetle came second. What I would do is, it looks like you took that limb off. I would not have done that. That's okay. We're here where we're at now. We're just going to deal with it as is. The other thing to keep in mind, Michael, is you got a structurally compromised tree. So it looks like you park a lot of cars there, and I would be very, very careful to park underneath that tree. Let's see. After they trimmed it. Okay. Yeah, you did the right thing with weight reduction, Michael, but you don't want to do it that way. There's better ways to do it. I wish we talked beforehand, but we're afterwards, and we're just gonna have to do it. The reduction pruning, yeah. Guy is saying, yeah, bad job on that lower limb removal. I would have said the same. Is you probably should have kept that lower limb. That's a really big wound, so close to the other really big wound. You want to improve the soil and take care of the roots. So speed compartmentalization. This coming from the guy that says you can't give good solid advice on trees over the internet, is giving good solid advice on trees over the internet. Way to go, guy. I love it, dude. Yes. So he's talking about improving the soil and taking care of the roots to speed up compartmentalization. This is one of my favorite things. Humic acid or humates will actually chemically bind to clay soils, especially, and they'll desalinate more sandy soils. And so that's a beautiful thing. So guy's absolutely right. Now, one of my favorite things is just put mulch. Just put good organic mulch over the root zone, especially where you've got those cars parked. You want to go 2 to 4 inches where you got the cars parked, and less, and try to get them off of that root system, because that's just going to compact it and destroy the actual structure of the soil. Soil has to be about 45 to 50% oxygen. Pore space is what they call it. And if it's not, every time you drive over those roots, Michael, you're compacting and compressing that soil, and it's just going to create what we call an anaerobic condition in the soil. I actually agree with Michael, or excuse me, I agree with your Michael. I agree with Guy. I think the reduction pruning was spot on. Whoever did that, they actually did a pretty good job. I'm seeing some of these wounds, and I can't complain, y'all. I can't complain. I see good things. Maybe less aggressive, but I think the overall point was accomplished very well. I also agree with Guy that I would not have removed those lower limbs. I think that is like the worst thing that you could have possibly done for this tree. And you just took away all those food factories that can and will produce for the tree to make it better. I also agree with Guy that the next best step is you want to add a good, solid organic compost and treat it with that humic acid and the Microlife Ocean Harvest. I'm happy to hook you up with it. You can find it on Amazon or eBay, wherever. Just, if you can't get help from me, please get help somewhere. Back to those old Carter commercials, y'all. I'm dating myself, aren't I? All right. So Isabel's asking, any arborists seeing trees in the Spring Branch, Texas specifically area? I messaged you. Oh, wow. That's different. Okay. So it looks like maybe Michael was trying to post there. Hey, Isabel, I'm in the area. I'll send you a DM. I did. And Isabel, I'd love to help you if I can. All right. We're moving on, y'all. Is it possible to trim this leopard tree back without it unaliving? Let's see what the questions are, or the comments are. Okay, so we need to push all. I don't know why it doesn't just start with all, but whatever. Mark Zuckerberg, you jerk. Okay, so is it possible to trim the leopard tree right back without it unaliving? Okay, so what I would do, let me go ahead and do this. I'm gonna take a picture here. Copy image, and we're gonna go to paint. So the thing is leopard wood, ironwood, those are two synonymous terms. Where is it? Paint. Here we go. Every time I do this, it seems I start to have an allergic reaction. My contacts like start wanting to pop out of my head. So if I start rubbing my eyes, that's what's up. That's what's going on. Okay, so we got paint up. We got tree implemented. Here's what I would do. Who are you? Thomas. What's up, Thomas? Sorry, buddy. Here's what I would do. I would do no more than, oops. I would do no more than 2 to 4 feet off of that, and you can reduce it back. Okay, so I'll give you an example right here. Maybe you can see that. Maybe you can't. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer just so you can see an example. So right here, you've got one limb here and one limb here. You can do one of two cuts. You can, let me change this to orange. You can remove this right here and get rid of that whole thing, or you can reduce this back to here and get rid of all of that. Either way is a good cut. And what you're leaving is basically this limb and this limb. And all of that's going to produce for the tree. Now, here's the thing. I understand you're working with constraints of space, but you're not going to change the genetics of that tree, Thomas. I'm sorry. What you can do, and this is really cool stuff, you can get a well-qualified arborist, somebody who knows what they're talking about and is structural pest control certified in your area to apply what's called paclobutrazol. Cambistat is 1, Tide Paclo at 2SC, Paclo PGR is another brand. They actually deregulated this, and so Cambistat back in my day was the only option here. Now it's $440, so that's not ideal. Cambistat's the brand name. Amtide Tido or Amtide Paclo, Tide Paclo. Amtide is the one I use. You can use Snipper is one. No, that's not it. Snipper is different. Indole 3-butyric acid. That's IBA. That's actually a rooting hormone. That's totally different. Paclobutrazol is what you want there, Michael. Thomas. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, buddy. I was just talking to Michael. While you do that paclobutrazol, it's going to be really important to treat it with this stuff and give it some extra resources, because that's going to help improve the overall health and vitality of the tree. It's also going to improve the root structuring. And if you want to get really serious, then you can do this stuff as well. But that's pretty much what I do. Reduce the canopy height. That's good. That's okay. Reduction pruning. I love reduction pruning. That mimics what trees do naturally, which is what we call retrenchment. And retrenchment is basically the tree is lowering the canopy height on its own. It will unalive those longer extended branches, and what's left is just the interior canopy growth. So you're left with this short squatty tree, which is way more prone to survive all sorts of storms and things like that. So it's really important, but let's move on. Hope that helps, Thomas. All right. So this is fun. We played a little tree game, and it's getting a little bit of traction here. We got, 12, 13 likes on it, 10 comments, 2 shares. So basically, we got a little contest going. Lucas, I think I didn't even tell you about this, but yes. Oh, let's go back to that. That's a really good point, Thomas. So Sprout is saying this is also why lion's tailing is so bad. So the tree has been lion's tailed a little bit, but not too bad. However, if you were to scrape all of those limbs out to the very ends, realistically, you're not going to have anything to cut back to. But because you've left it pretty thick and healthy, you actually have a lot of really good places you can reduce that canopy height back to. And so I think you're in okay position. You don't want to overkill it though. Don't bring it back to like trunk tissue and the really big, like 4 and 6 inch limbs down at the base there. Leave that alone and only do those limbs way up in the upper canopy. That's really important. You can actually reduce the likelihood of failure by up to like 50% or more by doing those types of things. So great point, Sprout. That's a very good point. I love it. All right. So for those of you that don't know, we have started a fun little contest again, where basically we're giving you a free digital arborist consultation. That's with yours truly. And I'll even throw in a report for you as well. But basically, we got a label the tree the leaves contest. We got this fun little meme that's been thrown around quite a bit in the tree care world. And you got all these different types of leaves. By the way, that is not any tree that I know of. But for those of you that want to play, oh, I didn't see it. Sprout, I didn't see it, dude. I didn't see it, man. Try posting it again. Post it to YouTube right here on this feed. All right. So anyways, the label the leaves. If you get it, we're going to give you 10 points. If you get all 10 of the different leaves, I'll give you a hint. This is ginkgo. This is sassafras. That's all I'm going to give you. But for those of you that want to play, the other thing too is we've got a few ground rules, ways to earn extra credit. Is number one, join us on our live stream right here and say hi. So Sprout, you already got your ticket of entry. That's 5 extra points. And for every time you like this post, we're going to give you an extra point. For every time you comment on this post, we're going to give you an extra point. For every time you tag a friend, we're going to give you 2 points. And every time you share it, we're going to give you 2 extra points as well. And in the end, we'll do a drawing and basically give you a weighted chance based on the number of entries you have. So submit your entries. Go ahead and message me. That's Matt Latham, or you can connect with Lucas de la Vega and message him as well. But send us your answers, and of course, keep commenting, keep liking and sharing and subscribing and all that good jazz. I'm obligated to say that, y'all. So, all right, we're moving on. Kenneth is asking, looking for some assistance without getting a minimum wage job on a tree crew. What are good tools for identifying tree species in West Texas? Well, you got mulberry, you got live oak, and you got Afghan pine. Those are the only trees I know of. Maybe Wasachi. Wasachi is a pretty good tree. But yeah. Hold on. Richard's a fellow professional. Mulberry. So yeah, identifying trees. I love the picture of this app. Let me go ahead and full screen it real quick. Yeah, please email it, Sprout. It's not showing up for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on. So I love the picture of this app. Very good app. It does a pretty good job of identifying and diagnosing. I don't rely on it, but for identification, it is a very helpful tool that even us professionals use sometime. So check that out, Kenneth. I think that's going to be your best. Oh, what's up? Okay. All right. So Sprout has just emailed me. What's up with this garbage? Let me pull that up real quick, you guys, because that's fun. I want to get this resolved. My favorite is when my internet just doesn't work. My absolute favorite, y'all. Shameless self-plug from Sprout over here. Yeah, imamectin benzoate. Imamectin benzoate. Yeah. That would be my suggestion. If you are, you got to treat it with a. Yeah, I saw that, man. I just answered your question, by the way, on your actual channel. So yeah, I would give it a shot. I'd get rid of the worst one. It has a couple of pictures of the EAB. Oh, I didn't even look at the other pictures. Oh, gross. Grody. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, look at that yellowing. Look at that damage there. That's so gross. All right. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. This is I'll show you one that's pretty gross too. It gets way worse than that, dude. Fast forward 5, 6, 10 months or whatever. And oh, not what I wanted to click. Let's check it out. I'll show you these because this is crazy, dude. This is gonna blow your mind how much damage. Albums. Hello, albums. That's the mayor of Houston, by the way. That beautiful bald man. What I do professionally is just awesome. What condition rating would you give that? Oh my goodness. Tree checkup. Is that you, Jon Snow? We were just talking about that. I give that a poor tree condition. Just right off the bat. Is that you, John? You talking to me, buddy? I love it, dude. If that's you. If not, that's still cool. What tree rating would you give that? So John and I were just talking about this. This is crazy. So here's some EAB that's going to blow your mind. Let me show you this first, because one thing at a time, you guys are distracting me. That's not cool. That might be me. I don't believe it. I think that's you, John. What's up, big guy? It's great to hear from you. Thanks for joining us, man. Here's EAB. Look at this beautiful critter. All that damage. Can y'all imagine if that was your vascular system? Can you imagine how well you do and for how long you do if that was your vascular system? That's up in New Jersey, by the way. New Jersey, Sussex County specifically, northwest side of town. And it is really, really, really bad. There's a little bugger sticking his fat butt out the tree. That's those dirty butts. Emerald ash borer is such a nightmare, you guys. So the story goes in 2010. That's what smoking and vaping does to human lungs. Okay, so for one who has smoked for like 20 years out of his life, I can appreciate that statement, actually. John and I were talking about condition rating, and John's a great guy. He's president of the Florida Urban Forestry Council, FUAC, FUFC. So much for cholesterol. Yeah, for good cholesterol. Just snip, 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 snip all the way around your vascular system. We were talking about a big problem in our industry, and this is one that I really didn't think about a lot until FUFC. I got it, John. I word saladed it a little bit. But page 44 of the tree and plant appraisal guide, we talked about, oh man, that's horrible video quality. I'm gonna have to up my ante and up my internet usage or something. But essentially, there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 technically if you count unalived trees. You've got excellent, good, fair, poor, and very poor. And what we were talking about is excellent rating goes from 81% to 100%. Well, I don't know about y'all, and this is, like I said, John and I were talking about this extensively today. But 81% is not a great grade. If you were to go to school and get an 81%, yeah, that's passing. That's pretty good, but it's certainly not excellent. Excellent would be like 95, 91 bare minimum. 95 to 100 would be an excellent tree. I see maybe 1% or 2% of trees that I see out there are excellent condition. And so John's doing some really impressive work to essentially codify what it means to be an excellent tree and what it means to be a poor tree or a very poor tree, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so kudos to you out there in Florida, John. Really appreciate all the work that you're doing, man. And I enjoyed our conversation today. That's good. We need more of the industry to have these types of conversations because, I'll just give you all an example. There's a guy named Jeffrey Ling, Jeff Ling. He was the ASCA chapter president or the ASCA president. ASCA is the American Society of Consulting Arborists. And he said something that really stuck with me. This is probably 2.5 years ago or more. And he said, tree care is where modern medicine was in the 50s and the 60s. And that really meant a lot to me. That may not mean a lot to you, but what that meant to me is like, we're on the cutting edge of everything that happens in the future with tree care. And there have been some brilliant people, some that I've learned from, etc. Some that I don't like, some that I really like, and that have really laid the foundation, the groundwork for tree care. What we haven't done is written it into actual law, not only on a legal basis, but even in an industry standard basis. We have this, where was it? I just dropped it. Oh, I can grab it, I promise. ANSI A300 standards. This is the 2023 updated version. This was the first time since these ANSI standards have been around 2 years ago, y'all, 2 years ago that they were put into one place. Before that, you had to buy each separate standard individually. And that's just ridiculous. Yeah, John, I love that. Yes, you get cut, man. And us tree guys, we're pretty good at cutting things, y'all. We like playing with knives and such and playing. That's fun. That's a brilliant thing. So knives are great, and we will cut you if you're not on the cutting edge. And so, sorry, I shouldn't be throwing knives around like that. That's probably a violation of YouTube standards. I don't know, or Facebook, one of the two. But you can either be on the cutting edge or get cut, and that is so true. John, myself, we were talking about some guys, Joe Samnick, Lindsay Purcell. Like, there's so many of these guys out here that are really, we're trying to push progress in our industry. Now, I'm very conservative. I'm a Texan, but I think we should progress. Quite frankly, I think we as an industry, I have lost too many friends to this industry. I'm sick of reading about them in the Drip Line Report and in the newspaper and in my local Facebook groups and all that. We've got too many good men and women that are unaliving because we don't have any real true standards. And so plumbers, by the way, that's such a safer industry. Now, you got big consequences if you do it wrong, but you got big consequences with trees too. And quite frankly, plumbers are regulated on a state and even on a federal basis. So I think we need the same in tree care. And so we're going to do that. And for those of you that don't like it, tough cookies, we're pushing this thing forward. So deal with it, get on board or get out or get cut, as John says here. But yeah, right. I mean, it's still like, I still see people market topping as one of their service items. Like, I'll be honest, quite frankly, y'all can slam me if you want. I'm good with that. That's funny, John. I'll show that here in a minute. I will top a tree if I know that we are planting something as its replacement, if the tree is a true hazard to the people that live around it, and if we know that tree is on its way out and we're just trying to get a few more years out of it. Other than that, if you top trees, you're wrong, especially if it's a tree that the family wants to keep and preserve for many years to come. Flush cuts and dangerous stuff for trees and people. Yeah, flush cuts. Why do we still do that, y'all? That's so crazy. Plumbers could find themselves up to their neck in fecal matter, I believe is the correct proper term, right? And I didn't know topping was a surface. It sounded like a disservice. It is. And like I said, I'll do it on trees that we know are on their way out and we have an exit strategy. This is a remediation plan. This isn't a long-term strategy. We know the tree is going to be gone in 5-10 years or less. And we're just trying to get a few more years out of it while we plant something in its place to restore and recover the canopy. So anyways, there's my soapbox for the day. Y'all got me ranting and raving, y'all. I love it. All right, so let's move on. So we talked about that. Okay, advice on helping this live oak. Ooh, that's not pretty. So you've got some clear decay here. You've got some serious girdling roots on this tree, man. Shreddy, I'm sorry, but this may be one of those that your best bet may be to remove it. And let me show you why. And for y'all that know me, especially on a big old burly, beautiful tree here, just like this is, my goodness, what a cool tree. What's that, Lucas?
That's kind of like a bad area too. I mean,
yeah,
around the root system, it's right in between that driveway, so there's a lot of traffic going over it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not so worried about the traffic because the traffic is going to be mitigated by the stone and the concrete work. It looks to me like maybe there's a new driveway. Yeah, it's going to compress, but that's not a huge issue. The main issue is there's very limited soil volume. Soil volume is what we consider that to be. The paver stones are great, but that girdling root has caused so much damage here. Next step is you just get a big storm in there with all that decay, and the tree could pop right out of the ground. I'm not a prophet. I don't know the future, but I do know that there's certain risks that are involved with keeping this tree around. Additionally, and it looks a little bit different in this photo. Looks like that's like brand new concrete that was poured here. And yeah, that's, you got a really sticky situation here. What I would do if you want to preserve the tree, I would significantly reduce the canopy height. Well, here's the problem, and Sprout brought it up early. Let me see if I could see that. This is why lion's tailing is so bad. Now, Shreddy, I don't know where you're at. Let me see. Maybe I could tell. California. What's up, California? My West Coast people. I actually, my wife and I spent a good portion of 2020 in California on the, and we got tired of the politics. So we came back to Texas because politics here were just better. So, tree checkup out later, buddy. Hey, it was great again talking with you. Thanks for joining us, John. We'll see you, buddy. He's trying to remain anonymous. So, okay. So we can see some really, really serious pruning wounds here. That's very bad, but it's also, quite frankly, I think it's necessary because of those power lines. What I think you've got here, Shreddy, is you've got a right tree in the wrong location type scenario. Can you keep it alive and keep it up in the air? Maybe. What you would have to do is, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to paint here. We're going to get rid of that altogether, and we're going to bring up a new one. What you can maybe, this is a big old maybe, is if you want to keep it a little bit longer, you can actually reduce this canopy height significantly. And that's actually a bad. Let's get a little bit more width on our brush here, guys. Just a happy little pruning wound. I'm Bob Ross, y'all. Happy little pruning wound. Happy little cloud. Oh, wow. That looks even better on the...
There's a lot of AI stuff going on with Bob Ross lately.
Is there a lot of AI stuff? That's hilarious. So what you're going to have to do is like make a pruning wound here, make a pruning wound here, make a pruning wound. I can't really see it, but probably there. And then you're going to want to do the same here. I can't really see what's going on here, Shreddy, but you got a really serious structurally compromised tree. You got a lot of unalive backness. I think you've got a tree that's probably on its way out. And I'm really sorry to say that. I hate that. But I'm going to go ahead and post this maybe, and let's see if we can. Shreddy live oak. Yeah, unfortunately, Crane make that fast. Yep. Except the power lines. I wouldn't stick big metal cables in the air with ooh, what did I do? I don't want that. I would not stick big metal trees in the air, metal cables in the air to do some crane riggings. That's no good. If you want to keep it, I would reduce significantly the weight on all of those limbs, and I would start to seriously treat it with some humates, with some molasses, and et cetera. But yeah, you've got a tree that's probably on its way out. Paclobutrazole might be a good treatment that I would recommend. It's a tree growth regulator that'll shut down the outward growth and improve the root structuring. Yeah, I think you got a big issue here. Limited soil volume, tree in decline, girdling roots. Oh, let's do this. Girdling roots. Uh-oh, my little one's up. Hope y'all don't mind some great tunes. Y'all can't see the details. That's important to me. Yeah, if you do choose to keep this tree, which I don't know that I would, Shreddy, to be honest, I think you might be better off removing and replacing. And for y'all that know me, I'm like the last person that'll tell you that. I always want to keep the tree up in the air if we can. How to remove girdling roots. This is the other thing you want to get. You're going to have to do some serious surgery on this tree. And I'm sorry, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you got a really, really sticky situation, Shreddy. Great name, by the way. Shreddy's an awesome name. I think that's your name. I'm assuming that's your name. I've actually seen some trees with good root flare, but one of the flares girdles the other roots, and it's honestly crazy that it can happen. Yeah, it is. By the way, walk into a forest sprout. That doesn't happen out there. It only happens in residential that I've seen. Maybe there's a few exceptions to the rules, but not much. What's up, Allie? Hey, Allie. That's a stupid joke. Allie's asking, I have a willow bush to willow type bush in my tree. Where are you from? We don't know. Mama's elderberry. I didn't plant it, so I don't know exactly what it is. Long story short, without my consent, it was mutilated. I'm not sure how to proceed. Do I keep trimming out the twiggy parts and leave the thick trunk parts? Is it best to wait till late winter, early spring? This is my favorite bush / tree, and I'm devastated with how it was left. My end goal is to try and encourage it to grow, and not so much so my neighbors don't touch it again. Please advise. Located in Colorado, 6.5 thousand foot elevation. If it matters, it actually does. Yeah. So one of the things you're going to deal with there is, I don't know what kind of bush it is, but I don't think it's a willow. I have no idea what that is, to be honest. If anybody knows, please let me know. I am not in Colorado. So one of the big problems with like sandy and rocky soil is salt levels. One of the best fixes for salt levels is humates. And so what I might suggest maybe is add some humates. That's going to help tremendously. The other thing you can do, and again, I'm just sounding like a broken record here, y'all, is give it some extra resources. That'll help to stimulate some new growth. Now, you're in winter up there, or fall, if you will, and it's going to be winter here in just a minute. And so you're not going to get a lot of benefit out of those, but I would definitely treat it with at least the Humates Plus, because that's going to start the process of desalinating it and improving the overall microbes in the soil, which will in turn give the tree everything it needs to thrive. So we're moving on. Sven, excuse me. Almost called you Steven. Sorry, Sven. Hi, everyone. The base of my cherry tree trunk near the ground has started to crack, and new shoots are growing from the cracks. I'm not sure if this is normal sprouting or if the tree started to decay. Has anyone experienced something similar? How did you handle it? Thanks. That has been going on, Sven, for like years or maybe even decades. What these are, those little roots, those sprouts that you're seeing coming out of there, are actually what we call aerial roots. Now, those aerial roots are essentially trying to grow down and replace that tissue that has been damaged. Sometimes, some point in the past, the tissue was damaged, the trunk tissue. Number one, Guy, always awesome advice. Always, dude. Guy, well done. Get those hostas off the trunk. There should be 6 to 12 inches of breathing room. I could not agree more. You got to get those out of there. The other thing is, it looks like those hostas actually have potential fungal pathogens. So I wonder how your watering schedule is. I wonder if there's water hitting the trunks. I wonder a lot of things, really. But those are the things I worry about regarding your trees. And so I'm wondering if maybe that's part of the damage. This has been going on for a long time. The main thing I would do is try to improve the overall health and vitality of the tree. That is almost always done through the roots. And so Humates Plus is going to be your best friend. But Mulch is going to be your other best friend. Is just instead of those hostas, if you can get rid of those hostas, that would be awesome. Just put down a 1 to 2 inch layer of organic mulch and maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch layer of organic compost underneath that, and go out to the edges of the canopy. That's going to improve the soil and improve the overall health of the tree. But you've got to expose those root flares. And number one, Guy got it spot on. Well done as always. You're a professional amongst professionals, Guy. You got to get those hostas out of the way, because that is trapping moisture, which is causing part of that decay, I imagine. And it's just going to allow for the tree not to be able to seal those wounds and heal that wound. So very important. You got to get those hostas out of there. You got to add some mulch. If you're using like a weed and feed, stop it. Just stop it. And if you're watering more than 1 or 2 times a week, you are wrong. Very bad. But yeah, I think you're on the right track. I think Guy gave you some really good, solid advice. I would do that. The only thing I'd add to it is maybe some humates, some organic mulch, and compost. And that's going to go a long ways. We're moving on. So Kevin's asking, my small pin oak tree needs to be trimmed. Should I wait until springtime or next year, or would it be better to do it now? Kevin, you and I talked. I already posted my comment, my 2 cents and humble opinion. What's up, Keith? So y'all, we get some really cool people that come in here. Keith Baberney is a living legend in the industry. He's like a tree guy from here in the Texas side of things. And I think you're from Texas, right, Keith? I know we've climbed in competition together at one point a long time ago, years like back 2014, 2015, think. But all these branches are temporary. It doesn't need to be pruned. Once a central leader develops, you can begin structural pruning. Yes. So let's do this. Trees are good. .com or .org. This is one of the good things that ISA has done, is they've created a website basically for homeowners like you, and they have this awesome resource for homeowners / tree owners. You just click on tree owner resources. You go down here to pruning your trees, and it's going to give you when to prune, how to prune, what to prune, etc. The one I want you to go to is right here. It's called Pruning Your Trees, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you the link to there, Kevin. I think I might have already given it to you. I don't know, but I'm going to give it to you again. Do that. The main thing is the longer you can leave those roots on, or those leaves on, the better, because each one is a food factory for the tree, and it's going to essentially produce the carbohydrates and the sugars that the tree needs to grow and thrive. So the longer you can leave it on, the better, bro. That's just straight up. All right, so let's get maybe 1 or 2 more. What happened? What the heck? What is going on? It just like did whatever it wants. So Anonymous was asking, Lucas, you down for 2 more?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So not sure what caused this on the sugar maple. Will this eventually heal? That looks like a deer got to it or some kind of critter and rubbed it with its antlers. It looks like you got some northern grass. That's definitely not Texas grass like St. Augustine or Bermuda. You wanted to get rid of those guy wires. Just get them out of there. They're not doing anything. So cut them out. You don't need that. That's not necessary. The other thing is you can mix up some of this stuff, and that'll help to just give it extra resources. But yeah, I've had worse survive. That's funny. Trees do not heal. They may heal from cuts, but on the inside, they do not heal. What is Danny saying? Yes, the heart will rot, making it for a very compromised tree when it gets a little bit more size on a windy rainstorm will bust it up. You're not a prophet either, bro. You're not a prophet, man. You don't know the future. Actually, trees compartmentalize. No, it is not doomed. In fact, all of the research shows that young trees are actually far more resilient and able to withstand damages like this than mature trees. The fourth wall of compartmentalization is the strongest, and you can see it sealing up evenly all the way around, and this is a young, vigorous tree. No, that is not a true statement. Don't listen to that. Keeping up with pruning may be a good tip. Also, since it's going to have so much trouble moving nutrients from the roots to tip, you're going to see a lot of dead on the bad side. Best to take them out after the tree is done with them. Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice. I think you're getting pretty good advice. I think give it some extra resources if you want. You don't have to, but it's just going to help a little bit. Give it some extra resources, and then just try to keep them off. You can actually use like cayenne pepper, and you can mix it with like a teaspoon of cayenne pepper with a little bit of olive oil, with a little bit of egg, and maybe some garlic, crushed up garlic. And what that's going to do is basically just be a deterrent. Deer doesn't want to stick its nose in cayenne pepper, and it surely does not like the stink of like rotten egg after a year of it sitting there. Spray that on like a week or two, and just give it your best shot, man, because you got a young resilient tree. Sugar maple, you're probably up north, they don't do well here. If you're in the south, get rid of it and replace it with a live oak or something. But up north, you're probably okay. Yeah, I would just leave it alone, let it grow, give it some of that extra resources, and say your prayers. So, all right, Jennifer, we've already talked about this, so I'll go over it real quick. This is a parking lot tree. She said it's in the middle of Walmart parking lot. You got to love my just frank to the pointness. Y'all, those answers are just terrible. Just terrible. Don't give bad advice, y'all. The other branches probably broke off. They are prone to that. Well, you don't know that. That was actually pruned, and you can clearly see unalive tissue there, you guys. So stop. Like, what? Who are you guys? Why are you giving this bad advice? Anyways, planting in parking lot islands. People should stop planting trees in them. Yes and no, Dana. I think they should plant trees that are viable solutions. Bradford pears being not one of them. It's Bradford, but it could actually be aristocrat pears. I actually see a better structure than Bradford pears. That usually is still a calorie pear family, but it could be like an aristocrat pear. Aristocrat pears do not have nearly the problems of structural failure, but yeah, I agree with Dana. It's poor planting site, but yeah, it is what it is. Those are stress trees. They're not going to be there. And really, they should stop wasting money on bad decisions. But my 2 cents. Let's do one more, because why not? My long-established croton, however you pronounce it, is unaliving off. The branches are turning very dark and unaliving. I don't see any bugs or mites. What could it be? How often are you watering? That's my question. I know y'all love just sitting here watching me type, right? That's like the joy of my life. The other thing too is if it is fungal, you can do some cool things with some cool products that will help to just improve the overall health and vitality of the tree. Oh, what is this? Microlife Liquid AF is one of my absolute favorite things on this planet. It's so cool. So cool. What it is essentially cultured bacteria that eat fungal pathogens. So you want to mix it with about 1 to 1 part sugar or molasses. You want to use a high quality molasses like blackstrap molasses or cooking molasses. That's really important. And you want to just give it a real good saturation and soaking. That's going to be super helpful if it is a fungal pathogen. But number one, prescription without diagnosis is indeed malpractice, Anita. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It looks to me like it's a fungal issue, but I'm not really sure, to be honest. Phytophthora would be my first guess, but I don't know where you're at. I don't know if Phytophthora is an issue there. It does look like you've got very little airflow in that area, and that it looks like fungal to me. We call crotons or crotons very different plant than that. So I don't know exactly what we're working with here. Let's see. Copy. Let's ask robots. So maybe we can identify this plant first and foremost, because first and foremost, we got to figure out what it is. Second and postmost, I guess, is we got to figure out what pathogen's eating it. And third and final most is we got to figure out what to do about it. So let me see. Let's see if robots can figure it out. Japanese maple. That's how I was wondering. I don't think so, though. I do see what looks like rose petals. Yeah. Codeum, variegatum. Yeah, it's fair suspicion. Term croton. Euphorbacea, which includes 700 plus species of shrubs and herbs, many native to warm regions, some native Texas species like croton, monanthiginus, I don't know, are small dull-leaf weeds, nothing like what you got here. Okay, so I don't know what kind of tree that is, to be honest. It's calling it a Japanese maple. I don't believe it's a Japanese maple. No, nothing about that says Japanese maple to me. I do see some roses back there too, though. So I don't know, Anita. I don't know. Sometimes that's the most powerful answer there is.
Sorry, just Anita sounds like that song.
That's funny. All right, y'all. And with that, we are going to call it for tonight. Y'all, we do not have a live stream going on this Thursday. I'm actually flying out for a job up in the Great North, up in Milwaukee. So y'all be praying for me. My poor, weak little Texas accustomed body probably can't handle the cold up there. But I'm going to be out there doing some work for an insurance company on a litigation case. And so we'll be back at it Tuesday next week. Y'all continue to bring on those awesome questions. I'm going to try to spend a little time tonight and tomorrow doing some videos about your questions that we didn't get to today and see if we can answer them for you. But guys, just love having you all with us. Thanks so much for being a part of this awesome community. Again, my name is Matt Latham. I am a board-certified master arborist and tree expert, supposedly, at least self-proclaimed, and registered consulting arborist. And y'all, I'm just glad to have you all part of this community. If you need a closer look at your trees, we'd love to help you out. I run a company called Arborist on Demand, where we essentially do telemedicine for trees. And yes, that's a real thing. Yes, it's very possible. No, sometimes we can't answer the question and we have to guide you to some other solutions. But 95% of the time we can. And if you need a second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th opinion, because you all know what it's like posting a question on the interwebs, then we're happy to help. We can get on a digital arborist consultation. We hop on a Zoom chat or Teams Meet chat, whatever works best for you. And we get you the answers you need for the trees that you love and live around. So again, thank you all so much for being a part of this group. We love you guys, and we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.